So welcome back. Where are we? It's the next day now. I laid down the base paint on the tank yesterday, so we're 24 hours later now. Stickers, they're green Kawasaki stickers, and lots of clear coat, pretty much the whole can, to get a real thick shine on the tank, because that's going to be the focus point of this bike, the tank. Now I had a problem with the ignition yesterday, so I did all the boring out up here and I got it to fit, but then it basically, its pin locked out, so its locking mechanism locked out, and then it wouldn't come back in. It was such a pain. No matter what I did, it wasn't too tight, it just wouldn't come in. Now I'm sure I've tested that pin off the bike, I'm sure I've opened it and closed it, but it just didn't. Long story short, it's busted. These things cost a fortune, 160 quid, 170 quid, 180 quid for an ignition. Plus it's got that silly diode in it, so or resistor. So I don't know. My hope is that I can do enough with the original wiring with the diode in it, tape it up, tuck it away, run a second switch, so you'd have a key switch up there. No steering lock, but let's be honest, it's not a huge issue. That's my hope, but yesterday it didn't start up. So I definitely had spark. I checked that, I broke it all down, definitely had spark. Didn't start, but then I think it just needs its kind of full pressure system to actually start up. So I think I can get a basic ignition switch to work, I think. Great shaped bikes, guys. Look at that straight line. This bike makes me want to chop it here. I'm going to show you. Look at this. Look at that. It makes me want to chop it there and do a flat tracker seat. But it's a lot of work. Also, you've got a brace here, so you wouldn't necessarily need a loop. I mean, a loop looks a bit more professional, but the brace is so close it wouldn't matter. So you chop kind of here and here and do a flat tracker seat. That, you know, that would be an option, but it's not a flat tracker. It's got, the tank is quite tall. It's tall on this bike, so it kind of, I think it needs that bulk. It's something I'll think about. And the handlebars didn't arrive. No tracking number on them. It's such a pain. I'm waiting on the whole front brake setup and the handlebars. But the good thing about that is it gives me the time today to do paint, and we'll get the majority of this paintwork looking great. So I'll stick the stickers on. Don't get me wrong, I have no system for it. I do it by eye and I hope it's okay. And then I'm going to be layering and layering and layering with that clear. For the other panels at the back, which is the same base, and that's quite important, guys. Use the same base paint because the gloss kind of brings it out. That's the black that's coming out. Don't think you can use different ones. It will look different colours. It will look different shades of black, which is not, you know, very professional looking. I want all the black to be the same, but the clear coat brings that out. That's the petrol resistant, very glossy, strong stuff. Now I am going to use Halford's professional range for the first time ever, and it's this one here, Body Shop Lacquer. It's meant to have a thicker shine, and it's meant to be more professional. So I'm going to try this for the first time ever on the other panels. It probably has a little element of fuel resistant, but with our bikes they need to be fully fuel resistant, so that's why the tank gets the good stuff. Anyway, let me get the tank stickers on and it up in its spray booth area over there, and then we'll start layering on kind of thin layers at first. We'll get them thicker, and then we'll put plenty gloss layers on so that it has a good wet look at the end. And then of course it's going to be very orange peely. We'll go through the process of cutting it down later in the week or next week. The other thing I want to do today is I've got two big old IKEA floating shelves. There they are. I want one to go up here in the garage, and honestly I didn't realise they were that big, even though I went and picked them up myself. But I don't know, maybe if I can get one along here, just bits of extra storage, because it is getting a little bit silly in here now. Also, it wouldn't hurt to chuck out loads of things. I mean, look, this Demon foam car shampoo that I've had, I have no idea how you use it anyway. Do you tip it in a bucket? What do you do? So I've got a lot of crap that needs kind of looking, old spray paints that I haven't used. So a little bit of clearing up in the garage, which lots of you mention. Now I love my garage, so I just, you know, this is my garage. Now this area looks terrible because this is my kind of area. It's where I go to. This is the main focus. So I have my bike kind of here. That's my area. When it rains, I can sit under this little bit of cover and do it there. However, from a cover point of view, I've ordered one of them shop awnings that you wind out. So it's going to give me 1.5 meters of rain cover. So I'm still going to be able to sit here and do bikes with a little bit more cover in the winter. And I'll get a couple of LED rechargeable lights. So I'm hoping to set up a little bit better this winter. It also needs to look quite kind of, I don't want people to know that the shop thing's there, because, I don't know, they might hang off it or wind it out when I'm not here. So it needs to be one of them thin ones that are fairly tucked away. So lots of small changes that come from some of the profits of the channel. I made a fair amount of profit on the DNA last week. And that's exactly what I'm doing, these bits and pieces. What I found while clearing out the garage. It actually looks quite good on this bike. It's probably too loud to use, but it's quite controversial for anyone who knows. If you know, you know. But yeah, I like that little pipe. It looks cool. I might even polish that up and consider using it on this bike. What I've got, which I haven't used yet, is an in-system baffle that's meant to tone it down a little bit as well. So maybe I'll come back to that at some point. Right, I'll get that strapped up. The stickers are on. Again, eyeballed. If you look down from a kind of certain angle, you get an idea of where you're doing. I line up from the center, and then I have an angle compared to this line. That's how I get them close. It's a nice Kawasaki green. It's going to look great on the bike. So let me get that pinned up so I can come back and forward and keep doing coats and coats and coats. Put some tape over the hole. Nat uses his personal er6n ball, you know, the one that goes on the strap in your mouth. But I prefer a bit of masking tape on that one, so we don't, you know, dirty our personal equipment. And then I'm going to throw up a shelf and try and clear a little bit. Alright guys, so with this can, you pull the lever at the bottom, you spin it until you hear a crack. Then you shake it for 2 minutes. Now I'm going to show you what a tack coat looks like. You're going to be quite far away from the source, and you're just going to tack it on. That is a basic tack coat. 5 minutes later, I'm going to come back and I'm going to do that again. 5 minutes after that, I'm going to come back and do that again. Then I'm going to lay wet coats until the can runs out. This can needs to be used basically immediately. You can't store it. So, shake your can. It's been away from it for a while. You need to harden up to mix with the paint. And get a bit closer now. Let's get a bit wetter. Five to 10 minutes, we'll go again. So I'm like 4 coats on that now, guys, and it seems brilliant, but I'm telling you, when it dries, you'll have a very thin layer of lacquer on there, and then you're going to polish that back a bit, maybe even sand it back a bit. So nope, you've got to keep going. There's still maybe 3 or 4 more coats out of that, and I'm going to do it all, the whole lot. I'm just focusing on putting up the shelf while in between, and at least then we'll have a petrol tank kind of signed, sealed, delivered, ready for application. It will have a whole week to set and cure before I cut it and compound it, which is good. So, it being the UK, it started raining, even though I checked the forecast this morning and we weren't due any rain. So bloody annoying. I've hung this up in the garage. I've just done one coat in here. It's not ideal, but the door's wide open, so we are ventilated. It's more about the dust and stuff that worries me. We need to make sure there's no dust. But I didn't want rain, spots on it, so I've had to bring it in for now. That's the best thing to do. I'm chucking up this frame up here, so we're going to have a big old shelf to work with as well to get a bit clearer in here, which is great news. So I'm still hammering away at the moment, but the rain has really let me down. So guys, it's raining on and off. You can't see this, but I've done the whole can. It's still wet. And I've got my new shelf up, which is cool. I'm going to do one on the other side as well. And kind of just dive in a little bit down here. What I need to do is get this tank now sat back somewhere. Almost maybe hanging off the wall or something while it dries, because it's just on-off raining outside, which is a pain. It just needs to be touch dry at first, hang in there, and then I'll put it up somewhere else. It's handy, these kind of extra shelves, but you also do need to think about what you're keeping. I'm looking at things that we need to chuck, let's be honest. I've got one glove there. I'm sure there's a second glove somewhere, but there's just, bits and pieces that have built up. So, yeah, I'll have a little play with that. This tank's going to look amazing. What I do want to do, if the weather does... Is it dry now?
Yeah, it's not raining now.
I want to get these coated as well. These are the rears. So they had their base black. Don't worry about the dust. That's from me drilling. I want to coat them with the Body Shop lacquer I was telling you about. And then there's a little square panel here that goes in the middle. And then on the floor out here, we've got these are side panels here. They need now they're plastic. I don't know if they need cleaning. No, they need painting. And then you've got these panels here that also need a bit of paint, so that it's all kind of on the same page. What? Oh. So that they're all on the same page. So that's kind of what we're doing at this stage. Alright guys, while we're waiting for the tank to dry a little bit, I'm going to start coating the forks because they need to be done. I'm going to also start lacquering the rear panels and maybe layer down a base coat on these side panels. If we can get it all kind of painted up, then it'll be good for next week. Ideally next week I'll get the new handlebars and the front brake stuff, and that will all turn up, and we'll be able to start putting together a bike that's shiny and braking and so on. I am hoping that it starts as it should once it's all back together. I did mess up something with the ignition yesterday, and that worries me a little bit. But if I really have to, I'll buy a whole new set. I'm not that bothered about that. I can put 180 quid into this if needed, but ideally not. It's a nice bike. I just want to put a basic ignition on it up here now, and what I want to do is tuck away the old stuff so that the diode is still in there, or the resistor even, etc. So yeah, so once I get this tank back on and it's all pieced back together, I am going to be just hoping that the ignition system is still okay. I did check it in the way I kind of wired it, and it did have spark, so I see no reason why it wouldn't be okay.
You're untrustworthy.
I agree.
I know how to do it. You put in a firm and have to say so. Are you spraying it? I think it's priming it.
No, it's paint.
Priming it first.
No. If you tack coat like this, So you do 3 or 4 tacks, and then it basically sticks. What people do is they put on wet layers too quickly.
This is a fuel injection bag, Charlie.
This is fuel injection, yes.
You can't do no carbon shooting, huh?
Don't need to. Don't need to. Couple of coats of that, and they'll look good.
Has it been rolling the whole time?
Nah, just for the last minute.
Oh.